Been running from a pain in me, a feeling I don't understand, holding me down. So rain on me, underwater, all I am, getting harder, a heavy weight I carry around, I carry it around.
I never felt good enough. When I got married, I struggled so much trying to just always make everybody feel okay. I lost who I was. I was never able to express what I really felt, and I kept everything inside. I always felt that if anybody knew really what I was going through, that I would be abandoned.
I considered myself a good person. I've always believed in the Lord. I just didn't have a relationship with Him. I tried to do it my way and not God's way. Stubborn and very selfish at times and extremely controlling. I had a beautiful family, a beautiful sweetheart. It was a great thing, but there were just so many issues and struggles that I just didn't know how to handle. And I started drinking a lot more than I should have. One night I came home and I came in the house and it was empty. It was cold. And then I seen a note on the counter. I just lost it. I honestly, I just didn't care to live anymore. I lost everything that I loved. I didn't know where else to go.
I grew up in a Christian home. Kind of always knew who God was and about Him, but I never really understood what a life with Christ really meant. In high school, I had all of these plans to go to a private Christian school, and I figured, well, what could be better for my life as a believer to grow and deepen that relationship with Christ. But a week before I was supposed to leave, I found out. Just because of financial things and stuff happening, and ultimately it came down to it wasn't God's plan for my life, and I didn't end up going. I was so set on what I wanted for my life. I was really disappointed and incredibly confused and angry, and I didn't feel like I could trust God with my life.
I grew up in a really loving home, real supportive home. Completely obsessed with sports. My parents, grandparents made every game. They brought me to church on Sundays. I had a relationship with God. I accepted Him as my Savior at a real young age. Went to college, started having some physical issues. Eventually got to the point where I was unable to play sports anymore. Realized that I didn't have any focus, I didn't have any purpose. I was no longer who I thought God wanted me to be. This led me to start doing things on my own. I started trying to kill the physical pain, started leading to addictions, heavy addictions. I was lost in giving the Lord that part of my life. I felt like that was something that I had to take care of on my own.
So before a relationship with God, I felt so much lack of self-worth. There's so much shame, and I suffered a lot of abuse growing up, whether it be physical or emotional or sexual, all of that. I have been there. Back in about 2009, I was graduating college. I was in an abusive relationship with someone who was terrible to me. It made me feel like no one would ever love me but him. And so I believe that when you're in an abusive relationship and you're isolated and they control every part of your life, you start to actually believe that there's no other way.
Well, where I was before Christ, I always knew there was a God. Growing up, I grew up in the church. I came from a family of 8, 5 sisters, me, my mom, my dad. We seemed happy, but we had our own problems. By age 13, I got involved with a lot of drinking, drugging, partying, and age 14, I had my first drug overdose off methamphetamine. That led me to go to juvenile hall, in and out, group homes, rehabs. I was on probation nearly the whole time as a child. There was no freedom. I ended up losing both my parents by age 15 and 16. Dad died of a drug overdose. My mom died of cancer. It was a bad lifestyle because it was like there wasn't no peace. It was always crazy.
I am a wife and a mother of 4 children. I was raised in a Christian home. I had a pretty solid faith and was surrounded by loving people most of my life. As a young child, I had really wanted to be an athlete, but I had key people in my life tell me that I didn't have what it took. I made it my everyday mission to prove that wrong. I played 4 years at the NCAA Division I level, set records at the school, and I tried out for the Olympics. Following that period of time in my life, I became a professional. I was very successful in a job that I was incredibly passionate about. 3 years ago, a lot of hurt and change came fast. I lost one of my best friends, a baby, and my dad in a 4-month period. I suddenly found myself no longer an athlete, no longer a professional, and home as a mom, which is not a role that I discredit in any way, but a big shift in the way I looked at myself, the way other people looked at me. It became incredibly challenging for me. Can I have a second? Absolutely. I thought I had to earn my worth. I thought I had to prove my worth.
I grew up a pastor's kid, and my faith wasn't really mine. It was somebody else's, whether it was my mom's or my dad's or my aunts, uncles, grandpas, or grandma's. It wasn't mine, you know. And when I turned 12 years old, my parents separated, and we started to go through the process of like the divorce. And once it became official, I got just filled with rage, became really angry, just confused. And so many feelings and emotions were going through my head at the time that I just felt alone and angry. And I just wanted to blame something. If I could put one word to it, it would be fury. And so that anger that I was feeling caused me lots of confusion, and it made me feel numb. And I knew who Jesus was, but I didn't want him.
I'm 35 years old. I was addicted to meth. I was addicted to a needle. I was addicted to anything that you could really imagine. I was a pornography addict, sex addict. My life was chaos. My life was very dark. I was full of a lot of fear. I had a lot of sin. I was homeless, just very afraid. I had no hope. I was confused and angry at God.
I was lost, addicted, afraid, and hopeless. At the age 17, I was homeless, on the streets, in and out of jail for years with no place to call home. On June 16, 2016, when I found out I was pregnant, I got arrested right after, and from jail I went to the hospital and found out I was 5 months pregnant. When I heard my baby's heartbeat for the first time, it kind of gave me hope that there was gonna be a better life, that I had hope to move forward and change, that it wasn't just for me, that it was for my child that I was carrying. And that's really when I gave it over, decided I'm done. Today, I'm 10 months sober. I'm the mother of a beautiful baby girl. Since I have God in my life, I'm now found. I'm a good mom, and I'm committed to giving my daughter the life she deserves.
Chains fall, fear bow, here now. Jesus, you change everything. Lives heal, hope found, here now. Jesus, you change everything.
That night, I drew a line in the sand and just gave my life to Christ. I have a relationship with Him, and it's totally bringing so much joy, happiness, peace. He's restored my marriage. I have hope. I have dreams to live. I have purpose, just inspiration just to live on.
I started to volunteer at the junior high ministry, and we just started to hang out with the kids. I just loved it. I fell in love with it, you know. I don't have it figured out, but I know this, that God calls us to seek Him earnestly. And that's just the best part about Jesus for me, is that the more that I seek God's heart, the more I realize that His great plan is huge. I'm here to tell you that there is a hope and a sweet peace for each and every one of us.
My relationship with Christ is enough. I know that that's everything. My role as mom is such a gift. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. The records are amazing, but parenting's better. I'm doing a job that's incredibly difficult, with 4 little people. That's enough.
I asked Jesus into my heart, and it all began by picking up the Word. And I tell you, it was the pivotal point of my life. I felt comfortable. I didn't feel lost. I didn't feel broken or short-handed like I always had. I really felt cared for. I'm sleeping on a floor. I'm homeless. I don't know what's coming next. But that's God, you know? And it changed me. And before I worried about what everybody else thought of me, and all of a sudden those scales came off, and all I cared about was, how can I please you, God? I have a wonderful church today. They took me in, accepted me who I was and as I was. I've been serving in the volunteering in the cafe. I've done Common Ground. My relationship with my son is restored. It's been a long process. I'm a college graduate today, and it was cool because God stuck with me. The things that we go through in our life, they may be hard at the time, but those very things can be the key to unlock somebody else's door for their own healing. And I hope that today, that my testimony is a key to unlock somebody else's pain, that they can feel healing, because God does save lives.
When I came here, I sat in the back. You could feel God in this building, and I did, so I kept going. You can sit in the back, you can sit in the front. I'm now super involved, and I love it here. I have this statement, and I really try and live my life this way, and it says, the value of our lives is not determined by what we do for ourselves. The value of our lives is determined by what we do for others. Today, I walk confidently in Him, knowing I am unconditionally loved.
I had come to celebrate recovery with my wife. One day God asked me what step number 1 was, and I said, well, that's easy. We admitted we were powerless, and He stopped me right there and He said, son, if you're powerless, why are you trying to control it? When He showed me that He's truly the power, I committed my life. I have a joy, a complete joy now. My marriage is being restored. We're falling back in love with each other, putting God first. Yeah, before going in the life that I was living, I woke up, and every morning that I woke up, it was, good God, another day. Today I wake up, and it's, God, another good day, and I can't wait to see what you have. And this is my joy face.
After some time, I could feel him trying to talk to me, just saying, I just need you to trust me, just trust me. Thank goodness I did. I have a purpose. I serve with the junior high and high school students, and that's such a blessing. I have amazing friends, and my relationship with Christ is so much deeper than I could have ever imagined. And when I think about the course of my life, I am reminded of Proverbs 19:21. It says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that will prevail.
Finally, something just hit me one night. I kneeled before my bed. I prayed the hardest I've ever prayed in my life, and my life at that point changed. And so I go in the church, I sit in the very back row, and it's on overcoming temptations. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way. He went through the steps, and I'm like, this is so me. This is why God put me here today. And I said, okay, I have to make a decision. From that day on, I don't drink. God has changed. He's just changed my life. I live for him. I don't live for myself anymore. I just hope I can help somebody who's in my situation before it has to go so far. I stand up for God because I know what he did for me, and he did it for a reason.
God has helped me find my voice. I am no longer afraid. He is helping me to build better relationships, real relationships, where I can truly be myself. People love me just for who I am, just the way God made me. He is healing my heart and showing me how to truly love. He is restoring my marriage, and I have hope.